Okay, so unfortunately, this one may feel a little bit rushed because I need to go get my nephew shortly, and I promised him we'd go skateboarding, but as you look outside, it's like it's gonna just storm any second. But, anyways, last night I stepped out of my bubble again. And terrified. I was absolutely terrified. Like, just my nerves were shot all day. Let me tell you about when I went back to school after taking a break. One of the first classes I took was with Dr. Cheryl D. Huddleston. It was a dramatic writing class at UGA, and I had to return to the drama building, which I'd not stepped foot inside since the very first acting class I'd taken and proceeded to vomit after my final, but I digress. Because what that class was, in addition to learning how to write dramatically, was also learning how to accept feedback. Now, given that we were all in that class for varying reasons, 2 people were required to submit written feedback. While in class, after we read 10 pages, the writer, the author, me sometimes, would have to sit there for 15 minutes and say nothing until the end of the 15 minutes. But the thing is, by not being allowed to say anything, it was incredibly freeing. Before that, I was not the best at receiving criticism. Like, I had what almost bordered on narcissistic rage. Not really, but kind of. Not my proudest moments. I just did not receive criticism well. It makes me angry, or it made me angry, which later on in therapy I learned I was really just sad and fearful, and it went to my big, deep insecurity of being misunderstood, and writing for me is so incredibly personal, and they're my darlings, and you're going after my darlings, so yeah. But I digress again. Being forced to sit and to listen to feedback, it changed me. And it changed me for the better. And also being in my relationship has changed me because in relationships, you're constantly receiving feedback too and having to process that. But here's the thing, especially with constructive criticism and coming outside of my bubble and all that I've learned in various writers groups, they don't have to help you get better. They could choose not to say anything, and then you'd be where you are instead of improving. When my friends give me constructive criticism, or my family, or Eddie, at this point now I almost get emotional because instead of feeling attacked, I feel loved. Now, just don't heap all the criticism on me, but it's taken me a long time to get to this place. And there's a reason I say constructive. And you will know it's constructive because it's coming from a place of love, of respect, of wanting to help you grow. And if it's cutting you down, just pass it on by. Last night, I heard a piece of mine read aloud for the first time outside of my bubble. And honestly, I've needed, wanted, prayed for outside perspective. And they said and gave me outside perspective, especially after being incredibly discouraged by one particular screenplay contest that literally said, why should I care about these characters? And it was not put politely, and it did not seem like it was coming from a place of love and respect, but, or at least it didn't feel that way to me. Last night, they read the words that I wrote, and they shared their feedback, this group, and opinions, and I am so incredibly grateful. There were multiple perspectives, and I can hone in on the consensus on what was confusing, what worked, what could be eliminated, what could be added to help lessen confusion, and just all these brilliant notes that will help me make this story better and to help me ultimately communicate better. Basically, I felt this incredible amount of love from strangers who took the time to share their opinion and takes with me, their opinions and takes that were incredibly beneficial. And most importantly for me, they said they cared about these characters. That personally healed this chip I'd been carrying. And it also helped, they said they cared about these characters because I gave them the details that were missing in the screenplay, which is why I have to circle back and say, could just be me. Because here's the thing, I wrote the script with particular people in mind, and in needing to get it to the outside world, outside of my bubble, I need to take what we all inherently knew and transform that outside. Which is probably why I need to rewrite it and then resubmit it to that screenplay contest. Growth, look at me, just growing right before you. Now look, I'm gonna keep bringing this up because growth. It's just amazing. I am incredibly thankful for Profound Clark for putting this group together, because it's a brilliant group and mix of people at varying levels. Some are so professional and some are just so amazingly brilliant. Well, I mean, they're all professional and all amazingly brilliant. But not only that, but there's a lot of people of color in that room. It's a very diverse array of people. And it's just beautiful to see us sharing these works and saying, okay, let's point out some technical things that you've done wrong. Let's point out some structural changes that you could do. Let's talk about, the story as a whole and help you make this better. I always say that I hate being the smartest person in the room, which, don't worry, I rarely ever am. But if you're the smartest person in the room, you're not learning. And last night, I definitely felt like the least smartest person in that room, because there are so many other people smarter than me. Tell me which one I'm supposed to use. So that's really all I have for today. Now I need to go pick up my nephew. But before I go, and I'm going to keep bringing this up because I'm really tired of hearing myself and my perspective. I mean, look, I deal with all of this in my head all day, and I just feel the need to just spew it out on y'all for some reason. But I really want to bring in other opinions, guests, and I also want to hear comments and concerns, feedback, if you will, constructive criticism. You can message me on here. You can email them to info@studiovoge.com. That's INFO. I'm going to put it below because I'm not spelling all that out. But yes, it's pronounced Voge. We'll go into that later. Anyways, send them there. I'm going to go pick up my nephew. Hopefully he will get some skating time in before the storms come. And as always, keep bearing the light of being. Keep bearing the lightness of being. Look at me just messing up left and right. So hard to not drop the F-bomb. I love you all. Thank you again. But thank you all looking into the camera instead of taking a sip of my coffee.